Our presenters for this morning are the following: Sir Dennis, our CEO and co-founder, and Ma'am Grace, our president and co-founder, are going to deliver their messages via video recording from the United States. But joining us in the call are Sir Jesus Poboy Romero, our Chief Operations Officer, and Mr. Benjamin Asada, our Chief Strategy Officer, and Mr. Matias Vukovic, our Chief Financial Office Advisor. And now I will present our CEO and co-founder, Sir Dennis, to kick off the results.
Good day, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you here today to present our financial and operational result for 2022 Q1. Grace and I can join you there live as we are currently celebrating the graduation of our daughters here in the US. But we want to give you this short message to open today's briefing. We are glad to report that Converge continues to deliver strong growth performance despite some adverse events, such as Typhoon Odette and the restoration activities and subscriber support that we need, especially to those who in Cebu provinces. In the first quarter of the year, we are really stepped up in our boosting our nationwide brand profile. We are acquiring the Alaska Acer franchise at the PBA and officially launched them as the Converge Fiber Xers. We are tapping into the Filipino passion for the basketball, and already we are seeing the increase of recognition of Converge as a brand. We are seeing the wider profile now on social media, and we are closer to our goal of truly becoming a household name. We have also seen improving subscriber addition as we adjusted our onboarding process. Our enterprise business is now growing at the fastest pace, thanks to the reopening of the economy and more SME resuming operations. No one is happier than us to see small business return to life, and we hope the recovery continues. We will be their partner in digitalizing their businesses. In closing, we are glad to have started the year on the right foot. We have passed more than 12 million homes as of March 2022, putting us solidly on track of reaching our accelerated target to cover 55% of the household in Philippines by 2023. As we transition to the post-pandemic world, we remain steadfast in our goal to fiber power the Filipino nation. We will continue to go the distance and reach out to more unserved and underserved area, giving Filipinos the world-class connectivity they deserve. Thank you for being with us this journey, and a pleasant day to everyone. Let me hand it over now to Grace.
Thank you, Dennis. Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining our first quarter 2022 results presentation. Let me begin by walking through some of the key operational and financial highlights for the quarter. Converge continues to deliver industry-leading financial growth with our revenues up by 40% year-on-year and EBITDA growing at 50%. EBITDA margins expanded again, with Converge recording an industry-leading EBITDA margin of 58.8% for the first quarter of 2022. Our net income further expanded as we recorded almost 2 billion of core net income, representing a net income margin of 25.4%. We continue to be the fastest growing fiber network in the country, having rolled out almost 645,000 FTTH fiber ports over the last 3 months, more than any operator in the country. We ended the quarter with more than 1.8 million residential subscribers, adding 188,000 gross subscribers, marking a re-acceleration versus our fourth quarter 2021 subscriber additions. The results of our enterprise segment exceeded our expectations, with enterprise revenue growing at 25% year-on-year, ahead of our 20% top-line guidance for the segment. Also, we maintained an industry-leading ROIC of 17% for the first 3 months of the year. Last but not the least, we are delighted to have been included in the MSCI Global Standard Index effective May 31. We're pleased to have joined another index that will further broaden our exposure to international passive investors. Thank you, and I will now hand you over to Matias.
Thank you very much, everyone. And again, a very good morning to our dear friends of the media. Let me now expand a little bit on some of these key numbers that Grace just highlighted to us. So moving on to the first slide, you know the slide well, a snapshot of the strong financial growth of Converge. So in the first quarter of 2022, Converge continued to expand revenues by 40% year-on-year. EBITDA grew by 50% year-on-year. So with this, Converge generated 7.7 billion pesos of revenues, of which 6.8 billion were generated by our residential segment, and now almost 1 billion is generated by our enterprise segment. EBITDA grew by 50% to 4.6 billion pesos, with margins expanding to 58.9%. So this is almost 4 percentage points higher than our 1Q 2021 EBITDA margin. Net income expanded to almost 2 billion pesos, representing a net income margin of 25.4%. Moving on to our network expansion on the next page. Converge covered more than 12 million homes passed nationwide as of March, representing a 70% growth compared to a year ago. So our network now reaches close to half of the households in the Philippines, with 47% nationwide household coverage. So we continue to be very well on track to reach our midterm target of 55% household coverage by 2023. And you may remember during our IPO, we had formulated that target for 2025, but our accelerated execution allowed us to bring forward that target by at least 2 years. The key to our fast network expansion are the number of fiber ports, which Converge now deploys on a nationwide basis at a much faster pace than our competitors. We added a new record number of fiber ports in the first quarter, with 644,000 fiber ports deployed. About 20% of those ports were deployed in Visayas and Mindanao. Over the last 12 months, we deployed 2.5 million fiber ports. So with this, now Converge has 6.5 million ports nationwide as of end of March 2022, more than the 6.25 million reported by our closest competitor. Moving on to a few subscriber stats. Converge expanded its subscriber base to more than 1.8 million residential subscribers, representing a 53% growth versus the first quarter of 2021. Newly activated subscribers, or what we also call gross adds, re-accelerated from 165,000 in the fourth quarter of 2021 to 188,000 in the first quarter of 2022. Moving on to the ARPU, the average revenue per user declined to 1,243 as Converge extended one-off rebates to customers affected by Typhoon Odette, and revenues were affected by some promotional rebates. The churn for the quarter is up to 1.47% monthly churn, which is higher than the levels that we experienced in the fiscal year of 2021, but continues to be below industry average and also below the peak churn that we recorded in the third quarter of 2020. Now, let me share an update on our investment plans and the CapEx plan for the year, as well as our liquidity position. So Converge continues to invest in its nationwide fiber network. We expect to invest about 26 to 28 billion of CapEx in 2022. Our first quarter 22 CapEx was at 4 billion, slightly below budget, as some of the investments in active network equipment, or what we call inside plant equipment, slipped into the second quarter of this year. As you can see on the right-hand side in the box, we continue to have a very strong liquidity position, which exceeds our CapEx by about 2x. In addition to the growing operating cash flows, we have about 8 billion of cash on our balance sheet. We have 27 billion of undrawn credit lines. Importantly, also, you will have seen that in April of this year, we successfully priced our first peso bond, which was a 5-year fixed instrument. The transaction was more than 8 times oversubscribed on the base offering, allowing us to price the bond at a record low spread of just 50 bips over the 5-year BVAL. So in a potentially rising interest rate environment, it was very important for us to lock in these low rates early on in the year, giving us sufficient flexibility to efficiently fund our CapEx. And that shelf program registered with the SEC still has another 10 billion tranche, which we can tap into the future. So with this, our total leverage continues to be at very comfortable levels. Gross debt to EBITDA stood at 1.5 times, significantly lower than the 6 times of our financial covenants. And also our debt service coverage ratio of 6.1 times is significantly above the minimum of 2 times required by our banks. Now, let me close with an important metric for us, the return on invested capital, which continues to stand at an industry-leading 17.3%, significantly higher than the levels of our peers, both domestically and internationally. So as we continue to efficiently invest into our network and grow our net income, we expect these levels to return back to 20% or more in the midterm. With this, let me now hand you over to our Chief Operations Officer, Boboy.
Thank you, Matthias, and good morning, everyone. Let me start by discussing our expansion pipeline. We continue to aggressively expand our network nationwide with our two-pronged strategy of go deep and go national. Go deep is us intensifying our reach within Luzon. And as you can see on the map, the purple dots are the ports that we have deployed. You'll notice, by the way, the yellow areas, those are mainly mountains. So hard to deploy ports there, and there are no customers there. However, there is still a lot of room to grow within Luzon. And there's lots of areas our network has yet to reach. So further north, Abra, Kalinga, and Ifugao in the mountain provinces are our next areas for expansion. On the other hand, Go National is us extending our reach further within Bismin. Large provinces, including Negros Occidental and Leyte, are our next expansion areas. We target to continue our aggressive expansion and convert a significant portion of this map into a purple nation. As Matthias mentioned, we have deployed a total of 6.5 million ports nationwide, supported by our 115,000 fiber kilometer backbone, which is, of course, the newest in the industry. To cater to our customers, we have 60 company-owned business centers, and this is not counting the business centers owned by our regional managed service partners or our third-party sales and service providers. Next slide, please. Just last week, we announced our participation in the Southeast Asia Hainan-Hong Kong Express Cable System, or known by the acronym CH2X. This new submarine cable system will connect Hong Kong, Hainan, China, Philippines, Thailand, East Malaysia, and Singapore, with options to extend to Vietnam, Cambodia, West Malaysia, and Indonesia. It is a 5,000-kilometer cable system with 8 fiber pairs and a design capacity of up to 160 terabits per second to meet the growing bandwidth requirement of the ASEAN region. The system is targeted to be ready for service late 2024, and it will serve as a crucial addition to our infrastructure, adding diversity and redundancy to our international network. On top of, by the way, our previously announced Bifrost cable system, which is also expected to be completed by 2024. Next slide, please. Today, our domestic network is composed of 113,000 kilometers of terrestrial fiber routes, almost 2,000 kilometers of subsea cables, and an additional 380,000 kilometers of last mile network. It is one of the most extensive and technologically advanced fiber network systems deployed in the country today. It is also one of the youngest, with an average age of just around 2 years. In terms of a capacity, our currently deployed infra can still be further utilized, and we are still expanding. As of March 2022, we still have around 4.7 million available ports already deployed. In terms of broadband capacity, we have yet to utilize even half of our total international capacity in serving our current portfolio of customers, meaning we are truly fully redundant. So we can definitely accommodate more subscribers. However, as Matthias mentioned, even with all of these advanced rollouts, we are still achieving an industry-leading ROIC, both locally and internationally, at 17.3%. Next slide, please. Moving on to the other pillar of our business, which is the enterprise segment. Our enterprise business has grown by 25% from Q1 of 2021 to Q1 of 2022, one of our highest quarterly growth rates since the start of the pandemic. The robust blended growth was a result of the strong performance across all of our enterprise segments, meaning our SME, large enterprises, and wholesale. Focusing on SME, this segment has more than doubled its revenue contribution year on year and contributed 20% of total enterprise revenues for the quarter, compared to around 12% of the year before. Other segments are not lagging behind though. We've won several large key contracts under the large enterprise and wholesale segments during the first quarter. Their revenue contributions will be more apparent starting in the second quarter. Despite the rapid growth, we still see that there are opportunities for us to continue to expand and harvest. According to a market study conducted last year by Infocom on the penetration of broadband in local businesses, out of the more than 1 million registered businesses in the country, under the Philippine Statistics Office, less than 40% have fiber broadband. The majority of them are still using wireless broadband or lower quality wired connections such as DSL as of September 2021. This means that there is still room for us to further grow our enterprise customer base. And I believe that would be my last slide. And I turn you over to our Chief Strategy Officer, Benji.
Thanks, Boboy, and good morning to our friends in media. Hope you can hear me. Allow me to take a bit of time to describe our ongoing customer service improvement efforts, a little bit about our PBA team, and some ESG updates. First, on customer experience. We've been prudently growing our contact center agent headcount to maintain our service levels. You will see that on the chart, we have brought our subscriber agent to agent ratio back to the levels that we had in Q1 last year. Sorry, the ratios aren't there, but for some reason, but it should be there. But the difference now is actually in the staffing mix. We have more agents focused on digital and social media now, as we are seeing a gradual shift in customer behavior as they move from voice to non-voice channels. And also, as a result of our continuous efforts to build resilience and redundancy into our pure fiber network, as mentioned by Sir Boboy a while ago, and also our efforts to optimize our network operations and maintenance practices, we were able to bring our daily trouble index down to a very low 0.32% in Q1. And we also significantly reduced our average ticket times as well. We still aren't satisfied with these numbers, of course, and so our teams are working very hard to bring these stats down even further. Next, we've made it even easier for both prospective and existing customers to reach us both physically and digitally. First, we significantly expanded our Converge partner outlets across the country, teaming up with the likes of ExpressPay, Micro, Gold, Pawn Shops, Petnet, and Santa Monica Pawn Shop, so that we can be wherever our customers are nationwide. So now you can apply for a new subscription or pay your bills at these outlets. And of course, we continue to improve our Go Fiber app on Android and iOS, and the web portal since these were launched in February. So we now have a significant number of new subscribers who applied through these channels in the past couple of months. So if you've downloaded the app some weeks ago, now's the time to do an update. We aren't resting. Right now, we are focused on improving our social listening and digital customer engagement capabilities. So in the coming months, we should see even more improvement in our customers' experience. Next slide, please. Now on to the PBA franchise, which Sir Dennis talked about a little while ago. Needless to say, everyone knows this, right? Basketball is the most popular sport in the Philippines, both as a spectator sport and as a participation sport as well. And of course, the PBA is the premier basketball league in the country. Given its massive fan base across the nation, as well as a extensive cross-platform reach, we see this investment as a great way to reach out to Filipinos and make our FiberX brand known. So let me quote Boss Dennis, or what he said a few weeks ago, and I quote, "Our tagline as a company is experience better, hashtag experience better. This is the mindset that we are building for the PBA, and we will be a game changer with our passion and drive to give a better experience to all our loyal PBA fans. This goes to show that we are here to compete, and we are here to compete to win. Palaban kami kahit sa labas ng court." So we are all really excited for the 47th season to start in June. Next slide. Now for an update on our continuing journey to improve our ESG performance. As previously announced, we released our second annual sustainability report in April as part of our regulatory filing with the SEC. And you will see in that report how we have progressed since the previous year in terms of our sustainability journey. We had a lot of topics to disclose. So for reporting purposes, we organized a presentation in terms of 5 areas: nation and communities, customer, people, good governance, and the planet. Our report had been written for the first time in accordance with Global Reporting Initiative, or GRI standards. And we also disclosed the telecommunications services industry metrics of the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. We've also started to adopt some of the recommendations of the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, or TCFD, and have recently signed up as a supporter as well, similar to other leading companies both here in the Philippines and around the world. In the coming years, we intend to embed more of the TCFD recommendations into our mainstream reporting, including our SEC Form 17A and 17Q. So we encourage our media friends to download and read our sustainability report in full. It can be downloaded from our website, specifically at our sustainability page, which we also recently launched. Finally, we're proud to have signed up as a participant of the United Nations Global Compact. We signed up in order to publicly commit to holding ourselves to international standards for human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. And every year, we are committed to reporting to the UN and to the public our progress in this regard. Next slide. And this is our last slide. It summarizes a few of our sustainability initiatives across the 4 pillars of our sustainability strategy. I won't go into them all into detail, but I just want to highlight some points. In terms of the first pillar, last quarter, we conducted webinars on gender equality and privacy for our own people. In terms of the second pillar, for good governance, we conducted an ESG Investor Day earlier this month. We also launched our whistleblowing website and our sustainability page, as I mentioned a while ago. To give back to the planet, we had planted a total of 2,000 trees in Pampanga as of March 2022, and our two main data centers in Clark and Pasig are now powered by clean, renewable geothermal energy. And finally, for the last pillar, to continue delivering a positive impact in the communities we operate in the first quarter of this year, we continued disaster relief operations for victims of Typhoon Odette and extended free fiber connectivity to the typhoon victims. That ends our Q1 results briefing. Thank you.